Sunlight filters through the dense forest and creates dappled patterns in the flower bed. That gentle light also dances across me and Xavier. Gardening in the shade means we won't need sunscreen, but the flowers are going to be sad.
Everyone else who got this type of garden plot is probably worried about the same thing.
Xavier raises his finger, and a small flower made of light looms into existence.
But we're different. With these flower lights, we won't have to worry about the trees hogging all the sunlight.
You'll be a full-time light bulb factory if you want to light up the entire flower bed.
Different plants require different light spectrums. If we use artificial lights to promote plant growth...
An auto butler appears in the flower bed. It's covered in dirt as if it popped out from the soil like a garden gnome.
The best course of action would be to simulate specific wavelengths of light. Red light and blue light, for example, can promote...
Wait, are there any flowers that don't need to be micromanaged?
I figured you might ask that. We can offer you shade-loving plants. They're capable of thriving in conditions with little exposure to light.
I tilt my head as I look at Xavier. We might as well go with shade-loving plants. Your Evo won't get its chance to shine, though.
That's good. I won't be subjected to the fate of being a street lamp for several weeks.
You don't have to be a street lamp, yeah. But how does being a magic lamp sound? Rub the magic lamp. Pretending to polish a magic lamp, I gently rub Xavier's face. Oh, magic lamp, will you give me 3 wishes?
Are you sure you only need 3 wishes? Tilling the soil, cultivating the land, creating your dream garden, helping you become a gardening superstar. Everything you mentioned before you arrived here, I'll have to fulfill them all.
That's kind of you. His earnest expression makes me laugh. I squeeze his hand as I speak. With a magic lamp by my side, our flower bed is bound to succeed. From Otto's selection of shade-loving plants, we chose a species that blooms heart-shaped flowers. To welcome our romantic flower display, we redesigned the flower bed. The pebbles outline a heart-shaped planting area. It looks uneven. Standing on the treetop steps, I survey our handiwork from above.
What's wrong?
Don't you think your half is bigger than mine? Let's move your stones a little to even it out.
I don't see why we should. It's perfect as is.
Huh? Xavier, let's be objective here. This heart is clearly one-sided.
The side with more love naturally needs more room in its heart chamber. So keeping it like this is fine, right?
Are you saying your heart holds more love than mine? I cross my arms and give Xavier a defiant look.
You're the one who wanted to be objective.
That's not what I meant. Just you wait. After expanding my half of the heart chamber, I dust off my hands. I'm satisfied with my work. Does this prove I care about you more? Xavier carefully examines my garden expansion. Then he gently takes my hand to brush off the dirt on it.
Yeah, I feel like I'm drowning in your love. But if we really want to settle this, I'm afraid we'll end up filling the entire forest with flowers.
We'll call it a truce then. But I won this round by the skin of my teeth. Xavier neither nods nor speaks. I take his silence as him agreeing with me, so I'm pleased with myself. However, when I return to the treehouse to rest, I notice Xavier's half of our heart garden is bigger than mine again. Xavier, did you secretly expand your side while I was working on mine?
I don't know. Maybe a kind genie granted my wish.
Since these flowers grow slowly, the event organizers gave us seedlings. Our gardening work was made much easier thanks to that. With the drone controller in my hands, I'm ready to water the garden. I wave to Xavier. He's unhurriedly shuffling around with a watering can. Are you sure you want to use that little watering can?
The garden isn't that big. I might be done by the time your drone gets off the ground.
The watering can is probably for people like you who can still use physical keys instead of smart locks. I handled plenty of equipment like this at the association. Should we see who can water the garden faster? With a series of practice movements, the drone quickly takes off and glides smoothly into the garden. Xavier, look up! The zone, its lights blinking, circles in elaborate patterns while circling above Xavier's head.
I'll make sure you get a role in the drone display next time the association holds an event.
And that concludes our performance. It's time to start watering. But I forgot to adjust the default water settings, so the drone demonstrates its impressive irrigation capabilities. You good there? Wait, not yet! Stop!
The weather report didn't mention anything about localized rain today.
He is so mocking you right now. After this drone makes an emergency landing, Xavier, his face still glistening with water droplets, leans towards me. It's a good thing I moved the drone away. Your face only got slightly wet.
Drying my face should be easy enough.
Before I can find any tissues, he takes my hand and gently uses it to wipe away the water from his face. The light refracting through each droplet creates tiny, crystalline words. I can't help but feel mesmerized.
Did you get everything? I can still feel the water sliding down my face.
There's only a tiny bit left around your jaw. I think I'll leave it alone. You look like a woodland sprite because of those droplets.
You just need a bit of water to become a sprite? In that case, I'll turn you into one.
Oh no. As he aims the watering can's nozzles at my face, I quickly raise my hands to defend myself. The water attack never touches my makeshift shield. Instead, I see an incredibly bright light shining through the gaps between my fingers. Tiny specks of light dance around me. It's as if I stepped into an enchanted realm where stardust flutters like fairies.
Now you look like a sprite.
Whoa. Cool effects. After finishing up our work, watering, fertilizing, and pest control, we follow the bird's example and retreat to our nest for the night. Huh. Does this room play music automatically?
No, it's from me.
I knew Otto couldn't be as thoughtful as Butler Xavier, but hearing you play the piano in person would be even better.
I memorized the melody, so I'll play it for you when we're home.
Come here. I take the coca from him and pull him down to sit beside me. Check this out. Don't you think the view is gorgeous at every angle? Oh, you need to look at it from the starlight. I make Xavier turn his head until he completes a full circle. I feel like I just spun a globe. Or an owl.
Yeah, I got to see a perfect shot of the galaxy and experience a planet's rotation and revolution.
Being here with the tranquil forest and starlit sky, it really feels like we're living in a fairy tale.
It's almost like living without the internet or worldly possessions.
Oh no, I couldn't live without the internet.
Are you sure you'd like that? You want to drink morning dew every day?
I like the fairy tale aesthetic. As for the lifestyle, maybe not so much.
Great. I know a place where we can create the aesthetic and still order takeout while we play video games.
You thought I'd ask something like, where could such a perfect place be? You're planning to renovate your balcony again, huh?
Moving an entire forest there might be difficult, but with enough plants, a starry sky, and of course...
His kiss on my cheek feels like the caress of the first morning dew, a heartfelt gift from the gentle fairy.
Your very own fairy, who can enjoy delicious food and drinks with you.
By removing the sin-weak parts, you can help the flowers concentrate their nutrients in the healthier stem areas, since you keep the thick and sturdy ones. I compared the plants in the flower bed with the diagrams in the manual. Should we prune these stems?
You're not going to say they're innocent this time, right?
Under Xavier's expectant stare, I suddenly remembered that snowy night when he took his frustrations out on the potted plants. Since you are petty, you'll only be using the small pruning shears from now on as a punishment. After ensuring each flower has enough space to bloom, we remove our gloves and carefully clean our hands. Thankfully, you told me to wear gloves earlier. I would have gotten a rash if that sap got on me.
You need to be more careful when tending to defensive plants.
We rest in the rocking chair, our intertwined hands swaying with its rhythm. I pull his hand closer to me, but I feel something out of the corner of my eye. Why are your hands red?
Huh?
I check the area behind his ears, his cheek, and his neck. They look fine. Your hands are blushing? They haven't done anything weird though. Don't tell me you got a rash because of the sap. It's good that you're just red and not experiencing other symptoms. Do you feel uncomfortable? I gently massage the medicine into Xavier's hands.
I'm fine. If you hadn't noticed, it probably would have quietly healed on its own.
But you were wearing gloves. How did you manage to touch it?
You're taking this very seriously. Am I your patient?
Yes, now be quiet.
Well, it wouldn't hurt to pay my medical bill now.
He reaches into his pocket and pulls out a translucent piece of resin. It's as big as a smooth river stone. Is this why? A few flower petals rest peacefully in this tiny time capsule. They still carry the lingering scent of pine resin. Is this amber? It must be old.
Yeah, this kind of amber can be considered a fossil, more or less.
You managed to find a rare treasure, but when? And why wasn't I aware of it?
I saw it when you were guarding a mole's burrow.
While pruning near the outer edge of the garden, I noticed a gap at the tip of our heart-shaped stone border. Did I accidentally knock the stones away? I called out to Xavier while trying to put the rocks back in place. Xavier, why are you dozing off under a tree? Hurry and take a look at this. There was a wound here earlier, but I patched it up and saved it from heartache. Xavier moved the stones I had just replaced to the side. He poked at the soil and revealed an unexpected hole.
We blocked their doorway, so they had to find a way to move the stones. I think a family of moles is living there.
Remembering how I had firmly packed down those rocks earlier, I quickly moved them even further away. I felt guilty about what I had done. Did you take off your gloves when you picked up the amber? You weren't wearing them when you walked over.
The amber needs to be preserved. I couldn't let any residue from the gloves touch it.
So you grabbed the stones with your bare hands after I moved them with my gloves.
No wonder they're red.
Mystery solved. Xavier and I share a wry smile before turning our attention back to the amber. Even though it indirectly caused some inflammation, I guess it makes it memorable in its own special way. Why don't we turn it into a more permanent keepsake, since we're home right now? Excited, I start to roll up my sleeves, but he pulls me back and takes the ointment from my hands.
After being so close together in the rocking chair, you need to apply the medicine first. I'll check if there's any inflammation.
By the time we notice the flower buds, Xavier's inflammation has disappeared. Meanwhile, I never showed any symptoms. The forest breeze stirs the bell-shaped flower buds in the garden. They are seemingly transformed into wind chimes. If only these little bells sounded like actual wind chimes.
We could make our own with those flower buds we pruned earlier. They weren't growing well anyway.
Or use that amber you found and some small wooden pieces too. After stringing together the dried plants with amber to make a wind chime, we start looking for the perfect spot to hang it. It's a shame we only have one piece of amber. The wind chime would look prettier with a few more. I start searching the surrounding area.
There's a little bird over there hiding its snacks. I suspect it's copying your movements.
Excuse me? I actually found something. Look. I cup my hands together. Under his admiring gaze, I slowly reveal... I didn't find any amber, but there were 2 pine cones in a hollow tree. Here, take a look.
Looks like a small animal won't be eating as many snacks today.
At the edge of the flower bed, there are 2 trees growing side by side, one large and one small. Since there aren't many things obstructing them, they're perfect for hanging our wind chime. As Xavier crouches down, I immediately stand on my tippy toes to grab the branch of the smaller tree. This tree is too tall, but the smaller one should work. Hey! My feet are suddenly lifted off the ground as my shoulder brushes past the tall tree's curved branch.
The higher we hang it, the further its sound will travel.
I don't think that's actually how it works. Xavier, we're not allowed to manually activate it. We need to wait for it to start on its own.
But it hasn't made a single sound since we hung it. If there's still no wind, I can light it up and turn it into a hanging lamp.
What good would that do? The wind has to appear eventually. Let's wait over there. We sit under a tree across the wind chime and peel the pine cones we collected earlier. I occasionally glance up to check on our handiwork. That small tree could pass off as a branch of the bigger one if you don't look carefully.
In terms of age, the small tree would only be about as old as one of the other tree's branches.
Are we talking about hundreds of years? In that case, we should call it an elderly tree out of respect.
Yeah, but age gaps like that are normal for trees.
And what about us? Xavier takes my hand as I struggle with the pine nut. He gently guides my fingers and presses them.
Flowers are different. Take the one in the amber, for instance. It shouldn't exist in our world today.
I actually looked into it the other day. The flowers preserved in this kind of amber could be millions or even trillions of years old. Compared to those, the flowers we planted aren't even newborns. Xavier adds his peeled pine nuts to my pile and looks up.
Yet they're on the same wind chime.
When you think about it, we've created a meeting point for life from different times. It's a shame that flowers, which are inherently fleeting, can only activate this by becoming fossils.
At least we don't have to do that.
The wind's picking up. Xavier! I save a video of the wind chime dancing in the breeze to the diary on my phone. I preserved this precious moment. Getting up from under the tree, we scatter our peeled pine nuts across a clearing. Rather than be a meal for some chipmunk or bird, they might prefer growing and nurturing new life in the forest.
It's possible, but they could still end up in a small animal's stomach.
The flowers have been looking rather listless lately, so Xavier and I crouched down to investigate.
Mushrooms. There are mushrooms everywhere.
Oh no, it's the fungi attacking. Xavier, I think we're witnessing a mushroom invasion. As the sworn defenders of the flowers, we immediately mobilize to eliminate these nutrient thieves. I was actually grateful for the rain. It saved us the trouble of watering the garden for a few days.
What about now? Are you wishing you ate those rain clouds like they were cotton candy?
As Xavier picks the mushrooms, his fluffy hair somehow resembles a mushroom cap. He looks like a mushroom. I wouldn't say I hate them, I'm still grateful. I find myself unconsciously moving closer to Xavier. The pace in which I'm picking mushrooms becomes slower and slower. By the way, did you finish reading Safety First, Edible Mushrooms?
Yeah. You can say I possess half of an expert's knowledge.
Are there any mushrooms that look harmless but make you sleepy after you eat them?
You're thinking of poisonous mushrooms.
They're not exactly... Before he can finish, he digs up a mushroom and holds it out to me.
Take this, for example. It looks like an acorn, but one bite is enough to make you pass out.
Well, that fits the description. You found someone of the same kind of... in the mushroom world.
Huh?
It's too dangerous for my liking. We should be careful. So, what about the mushrooms that are hard to find but glow in the dark?
They exist. You wouldn't find them here, though. But...
The small mushroom in his hand suddenly lights up. It's like a mushroom-shaped lamp that was turned on.
Do you mind if I bend the rules a little?
What about... I sneak up on the oblivious mushroom. Quick like a lightning strike, I bring the empty basket down on his head. None of them were the mushroom I wanted. My Xavier shroom was here this entire time. I can see his eyes twinkling like stars from the gaps in the woven bamboo basket.
You know, there's only one Xavier shroom in the world, and since you already picked him...
Suddenly, I can't see a thing. The hunter has become the hunted.
I'll be picking you this time.
The great mushroom hunt is a success. Xavier holds the spoils close to his chest.
We'll have fresh, wild mushrooms for dinner. Trust me, I know which ones are safe to eat.
I point to the wooden sign outside the flower bed that says, "Do not eat wild mushrooms." Wild mushrooms are risky and troublesome. Homegrown ones are much better. They're safe, tasty, and don't need to be cooked. Right, Xavier shroom?
I'm not a homegrown mushroom, though. I'm your average wild fungus who's only harmless to you. So you can enjoy what I have to offer without worry.
Oh my gosh, this is so flirty. As the event draws to a close, we fill up small pouches with flower petals to make sachets. Once we seal them, the wind collects the remaining petals from the table. Following the dance of scattered petals, Xavier and I step into a garden blooming with flowers. We just created the sea of flowers, and now we have to say goodbye. I wish this moment could last a little longer.
We should wait for a giant drop of sap to fall. Then we'll be preserved forever in amber.
Okay, well, maybe not that long. I feel an arm around my waist. I'm pulled into an embrace that's softer than flower petals.
If the sap really did fall, then we'd be just like this. We'll be together for many, many years.
You'd like that. His cheek brushes against my hair like a butterfly lingering on a flower. I guess it would be romantic if we ignore the whole suffocating to death part.
Most people don't laugh when they're having a romantic moment.
I try my best to keep a straight face and steal a glance at Xavier. Yet as soon as our gazes meet, we burst into a fit of laughter.
Never mind. I prefer us being able to move and laugh like this.
For a moment I was excited. I thought I could move around. Well, I'm adjusting my camera from a high vantage point to take some last-minute photos. Something catches my eye. Am I seeing things? Why is that flower moving? Xavier, I think there's a wanderer in the flower bed. As I speak, the weird plant suddenly becomes even stranger as it shoots up and takes on a human form. Huh?
Where?
It was you? What are you trying to do with that tall plant?
I chose the one with the most flowers to take home.
After taking a picture of Xavier, who's perfectly calm, I rush over and show it to him.
Are you really going to post this?
It's already being uploaded. Do you think some kids will leave comments like, "Wow, it's a real flower fairy"?
A child's imagination might be inspired by fairy tales, but that doesn't mean they can't tell the difference between fantasy and reality. Only someone who centers their imagination around me would think like that.
This is almost like the beginning of a fairy tale. Once upon a time, there lived a little sprite. He lived between the trees and the flowers. Xavier loads the transplanted flower into the car and gives me a resigned look.
Once our small forest grows at home, you can continue writing that fairy tale.
Come on, I'm interested. Then we'll write a story that doesn't end. Just as I'm about to get into the car, Xavier reaches out and stops me.
Since we made these pouches here, shouldn't we give them to each other before we leave?
What if I want to keep mine? I almost forgot. Give him the pouch. Taking the pouch he gives me, I turn it this way and that. I can barely recognize it. Is this really the rabbit pouch I helped you pick out? It's so full it looks like a chubby bun bun.
Well, someone said that whoever puts the most heart-shaped petals in their pouch gets to give out more love.
I learned it from you. I squeeze the bulging pouch in my hands. Slightly reluctant, I say, "It looks like you put in more than I did."
Keeping their petals in the pouch is similar to what their flower represents. The preservation of our feelings.
Aside from flowers, I wonder if people's hearts can be preserved just as easily. Xavier grasps my hand and looks at me.
What do you think? This heart is already being held in your hands, right?